I'm Teresa, welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me here today. This morning I've been out in the garden and gathered a selection of leaves and flowers, and I'm going to use them to create beautiful prints to decorate craft gift bags like these in front of me. Really simple and easy process, very effective prints. I'm going to clear these out of the way and I'll be back to show you how it's done. As always, I'll begin with a quick rundown of the items I'm using today. Today I've got my 5" by 7" gel plate. This is my Jelly Arts brand plate. I've chosen this size because I'm going to be printing onto some paper bags, and the paper bags that I've all got are no wider really than that, and I just want to be able to print a border across. So I've chosen this as it's the perfect size for the project that I'm doing today. Obviously, if you've got a bigger plate or a smaller plate, if you've got a bigger plate, you can mask off areas, that's all right. If you've got a smaller plate, you might have to print multiple times in order to sort of cover the area that you want, or just indeed just choose to print a smaller design onto the bag. I have some paper bags. Now this is just a selection of, this is like a gift bag. This one's quite a heavyweight Kraft gift bag with a twisted like a twine handle. This one here is more like your sort of traditional paper lunch bag, a bit lighter weight. And this one doesn't have any handles at all, just a paper bag. I think this one was from a grocery store. I just thought it made a change from printing onto some card or paper or in a journal, just, you know, decorating a plain craft gift bag to turn it into something a little bit prettier that you could then perhaps use as a gift bag for a present for somebody. I've chosen a couple of paints, and I'm using the Deco Art Media Fluid Acrylics. I have Hansa Yellow Medium, Primary Magenta and Cobalt Turquoise Hue. Sort of a primary set here. I've chosen these because they're more transparent. I've worked with the quite opaque paints on the craft paper before. I did a video where I decorated some brown paper, and I think I did a gift bag as well. If I can find that, I'll link that up in the corner. But I thought today it might be more fun to try with some more transparent paints. Obviously, the fact that I'm not working on a white background will affect these, the colour of these. They won't be so vibrant as they would usually be. But because I'm going to be doing some leaf printing, I like when there's a bit of transparency and the layers show through from each other. So I'm hoping that it's still going to be distinct enough on this darker background. I've got a couple of Posca paint pens here, black and white. Might add a little bit of detailing in with those when I've finished, we'll see. And I have my brayer, my Speedball rubber brayer here. And I have a selection of leaves to print with. I've just been out in the garden, grabbed a couple of things. This is a branch off a shrub that we've got in the garden. And I also have a selection here of more sort of like weeds, really, to be fair. We've got just different shaped leaves. Just thought that it might make a bit of interesting patterning. A couple of little bluebells out of the garden as well. We'll see whether we can get a nice shape out of those. But it's that time of year again. I like to print with leaves in the spring and the autumn time, when the garden seems to have all these lovely sort of natural items that I can use for my printmaking. So to begin with, I'm going to put some paint on my plate and get some background colour down before I start adding the leaves and things in to make the design. The one thing I do want to do is I want to kind of mask off a border. I want to print a strip of colour. Now you can do that with masking tape, but some of these, it's quite a fibrous finish, and I don't want the masking tape to tear up the surface. So I've got some post-it notes because I find the adhesive on these is much easier to remove. And what I'm basically going to do is just line a few of these up to create a straight edge to define where I want my print to actually go. And then when I've printed on the bag, I can remove those quite easily, use them on another one. So I'm just going to decide, I think that's about the size of the patterning that I want to get on this one. and just use these post-it notes, as I say, just to mask off an area. Quite quick and easy to do that. So now when I print, just going to print a design in a border there. But let's pop some colour on the plate. Begin with this nice yellow. I'm going to take my paper bag and press that down on the plate to transfer some of that paint. You can always just pick these up and pop them back in place if they stick to your plate. So I've got some tone down there as a base colour. So next I'm going to pop the red on the plate. Again, I love these fluid acrylics that you don't need too much paint. They're quite highly pigmented, and we're looking for transparent layers today. Once you're happy with the arrangement, take your paper bag and press down again. You need to be careful not to dislodge or move these leaves, but be sure to press, because you want to make good contact around the shape of the leaves, and with some of them being bulkier than others, you want to be sure that you're pushing your paper bag down onto the plate. And then you'll find you get a nice silhouette like that. Now this remainder of the paint, you can now replace this if you want to in the same place, in the same position, and get some detailing in, or you could take a print elsewhere with that. I'm going to line it back up. I'm not bothered about it being perfect, that's about as close as I think it needs to be, and try and add some of that detail in to my print. And as you can see there, you get some of the veining in the leaves, and it just adds a little bit extra dimension. I want to clean off any remainder of the paint before I do my next layer. So this is just some water, some paper towel. And I'm going to add some of the blue. I think this time I'm going to put this big spray of leaves on. And again, taking care not to move the leaves, but to press down firmly and transfer as much paint as possible. And on this one, I'm not going to add in the detail because I want to leave that design a little bit more open so that we can see the other colours through. So all I need to do on this one now is just remove my post-it notes, and there we've got this lovely patterned border printed across the side of our paper bag. Now you can repeat this process on the other side if you want the pattern to be on both sides. That's entirely up to you. I'm just going to let this paint just dry on the surface a bit here, and then I'll pull a print onto a piece of card or paper so I don't waste this lovely design that we've got going here. And there, that print can be used for some other purpose, but it was a shame to waste that, so I'm glad we've got that one. Again, just a bit of water now on the plate just to clean off any paint before we start the next one. I'm just going to repeat this process on my other paper bags.
Somehow I just never learned. In the back of the schoolyard, where we used to play hide and seek, you smiled and lowered my guard, and there was no need to speak. Always in the dark, and you can't call us through. Always with a spark. I wish I could.
And here are our finished prints. Love the detailing, love the sort of silhouette shapes, and I'm really pleased with actually how vibrant these still turned out even on this Kraft card background. It's always worth, if you're unsure, maybe try on a if you've got a bag that you don't mind wasting, or a bit of brown paper, if you're not sure quite how your colours are going to turn out. But these have kept quite a bit of vibrancy, and this is why I wanted to use these transparent paints, because they do look almost illuminated. I'm very, very pleased with the designs that I've got. I've decided I don't want to use my black and white pens. Because they've, the designs are quite obvious. I don't need to highlight anything. What I do want to do, though, I think, is just finish off the edges. So I've got a bit of old book page here, and I'm just going to tear some narrow strips just to sort of top and put the top and bottom of these borders just to finish them off, and I'll just glue those in place. And all I'm going to do is just by hand, just roughly tear some narrow strips of the text and just glue them in place and trim the edges off. And these are the finished bags with my paper borders on. I just love how that finished it off, and I much prefer that to having put some detail in with black and white pens. It's made a pleasant change, and I think it suits the natural look of these paper bags and the natural products that we've used to create the prints. I did create these other prints with the paint that was left on the plate after each of my bags were created, so I can use those at some future time. You could personalise these gift bags if you wanted. You could stamp somebody's name on them. Maybe they're party bags and you want to personalise them. You could get some Kraft card, make some matching gift tags and attach those as well. I've just stamped on the one side, but there's no reason why you can't just fold the bases back the other way and stamp on the other side if you want your pattern on both sides, but I'm quite happy with them as they are today. So as always, hope you enjoyed this. I know a lot of you do enjoy these videos where I'm printing with the leaves. I think it's always a fun and unexpected result by using these natural products, and I just think they're beautiful. Every one of them is different, even though we followed the same basic technique. So as always, if you did enjoy it, leave me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you again soon. But for now, that's all. Bye.